Well, happy St. Valentine's Day week.
Yay.
Ooh.
Just because you're a florist, I know. It's a painful week for you. But we do remember St. Valentine is the saint who, while in prison, healed a blind girl. And did it in the name of Jesus Christ and was put to death for that act. That's the saint which we celebrate this week. And that's the kind of love we celebrate this week. It's also the season of Epiphany, the season of light. And I thought about maybe doing a clip from Rocky Horror Picture Show and passing out big flicks. Remember that? Did you ever do that campy thing when y'all flicked your Bix at the same? How many people remember that? They're my age or older. Okay, the rest of you youngins, all right, forget that then. You set off the smoke detectors? You can't do that anymore. All right, it's the season of Epiphany, the season of light, the season of aha moments. The season, remember in the cartoons where the light bulbs used to go on and the little bubbles above the character's head? So I found this quiz about light bulbs, and I've given to you this quiz before, and so I expect you all to ace it. So we're going to try again today and see how well you did. This is about light bulbs. You remember this one?
No.
And I was thinking with visitors here, you know, they might get something right, but you never know. All right. How many Christians does it take to change a light bulb? If you're charismatic, only one, hands already in the air. If you're Pentecostal, 10. 1 to change the bulb and 9 to pray against the spirit of darkness. Are you all remembering your roots as we go? Try to get as many of you as we can. Presbyterians, none. Lights will go on and off at predestined time.
Amen.
Roman Catholics, none. Candles only. Baptists, at least 15. 1 to change the light bulb and 3 committees to approve the change and decide who brings the potato salad and fried chicken.
Wow.
Episcopalians, 3. 1 to call the electrician, 1 to mix the drinks, and 1 to talk about how much better the old one was. Unitarians, we choose not to make a statement either in favor of or against the need for a light bulb. However, if in your own journey you have found that light bulbs work for you, you are invited to write a poem, compose a modern dance about your light bulb for the next Sunday service, in which we will explore a number of light bulb traditions. Methodists, undetermined. Whether your light is bright, dull, or completely out, you are loved. You can be a light bulb, turnip bulb, or tulip bulb. Bring a bulb of your choice to the Sunday lighting service and a covered dish to pass. Nazarene, 6. 1 woman to replace the bulb while 5 men review church lighting policy. Lutherans, none. The Lutherans don't believe in change. I didn't write these. And Amish. What's a light bulb? So we want to talk about light today, of course, but we want to talk about salt too. You know, salt in the first century and before was very pricey and very much a treasure. And it was very precious and prized, and empires were made rich if they had salt. Unfortunately, at the labor of slaves who often gave their lives for it. But at great banquets, the distinction was made between those who sat above the salt and those who sat below the salt on the table. So next time you set the table, think about where you put the salt. Try to keep it as far away from Sue Clark as you can because she loves it. Make her reach for it. But remember, it determines your place of distinction. See, aren't you glad our table's not set that way? Salt's value comes not of itself, but of its application to other things. If we are the salt of the earth, and Jesus tells us we are, then we are called to exist for others. We are church, and we are called to exist for others. The same theme appears as you start to think about what life means. What life means for us. And so, yesterday we were at a meeting with Reverends Mike Piazza and Cameron Trimble, and they talked about church, surprisingly. And it wasn't really about light, but it was about night, and so I thought I'd throw it in here. Well, one of the questions they asked us as church is, what does God dream about at night when God thinks about Faith Family United Church of Christ? What does God dream about at night when God thinks about this church? Anybody want to venture a thought?
That's interesting.
What are God's dreams for this church? Mike Piazza asks, what is it we must do? What is it we must do? And before Mike Piazza asked us that, Cameron Trimble spoke, and she showed us a video of time she spent in Thailand. As you all know, our good friend, what's his name? Wayne, thank you, is in Thailand. And he told me when I wrote that pastor's message this last week that he said, you have to remember this about Thailand, it's always hot there, it doesn't matter. Okay, just because that question was in the message, if you know the message. But he talked about Thailand as having the loosest visa policy in the world. Just about anybody can come visit Thailand. And the reason anybody can come visit Thailand is it's a very poor country. And families find it very difficult to exist or subsist on what they make. And so she showed us a slide of a family of young women. I think there must have been 5 or 6 of them. Every one of them was in the sex trade, advertising her specialty, and wearing a pin on her shirt or lapel or whatever she had on, with a number on it. So you could order by number who it was and what it was you wanted. And then she showed us another slide. It was the slide of a 6-year-old girl with a hula hoop standing next to a little basket. And in the background was a man about to purchase her. And she said, I just wanted to take that little girl and wrap her in my arms and put her in my carry-on and take her home. But I couldn't. And she says, the reason I do what I do, coming to speak to church leaders like this, is because I really believe the United Church of Christ will find a way to help stop this slave trade, the selling of tiny girls and young women's bodies. The reason Thailand has such a lenient visa policy is so all the people that want to partake of this trade can come into the country freely and partake and keep the economy going. I can't imagine being a teenager, let alone a 6-year-old, with a hula hoop, playing in the street, knowing in the next few minutes someone's going to abuse me. And I will go out the next day and the next day and the next day so that my family can eat. I can't imagine being a parent of these young women and young girls and knowing that's the only way they think they can feed their family. But we are here. We have been told by Jesus Christ that we are the salt. We have value, and what we do can affect other people. We have been told by Jesus Christ that we are the light of the world. And we need to shine that light in those dark corners where poverty and corruption and greed and selfishness take away childhood innocence, take away childhood, take away life itself. And Cameron Trimble said to us, I couldn't keep doing what I'm doing. I couldn't have gotten on that plane, except I knew I was coming back to speak to other people in the United Church of Christ and say to them, we have work to do. We have to make this world society a society of justice and peace, where violence and exploitation end. And she said, I know we can make this happen. It starts with each and every one of us. First of all, owning the labels that we are salt. We are that whatever that was so precious in the early centuries, that priceless gift that by being given and shared affects the lives around us. And we are light. We shine ourselves. Do you feel that in your hearts? That you are God's good gift. You are the light of the world. And for the world. And to the world. And to those who still sit in the darkness that we read about in the Advent passages. Each of us and all of us are light. What many gospel commentators suggest is that people don't own that they are good. Instead, we embrace all the brokenness in us and say, this is what defines me. But it's not. All the broken pieces do are cut us. Let them go. Think of yourself as filled with light. Light. You're filled with light. And your goodness and your grace and your peace needs to shine out on those who need to know that somebody out here cares for somebody out there who is suffering. If you don't think this is our call, I'll read you part of our vision statement that appears on the back of your bulletins each week. I know you have it memorized by now. We come together as a community of and for all God's people. In the response of faithful stewards of one another and all God has entrusted to us. And God has entrusted all to us. absolutely sure, though I don't know everybody intimately, that there's not a soul in this room that would say that little 6-year-old has not been entrusted to me. And so we need to figure out what to do with that. We say in our mission statement, we offer sanctuary. Sanctuary, where nobody can hurt you. Nobody can come grab you and take you back to some situation so unimaginable that we can feel our spines tingling at the thought of what's happening at this moment in Thailand. We offer sanctuary in the love of God as we seek to welcome all without distinction. Realize God's reconciling deeds among us. Share our gifts so as to heal the world. Live in love, forgiveness, and grace. Now you think this is heavy, so I'm going to tell you another story from yesterday. Okay? It showed the video of an African-American pastor preaching to his congregation about forgiveness. And he said it's the new F word. The new F word in this church is forgiveness. The new F word is forgive. So I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, F you. And I want you to turn to all the people in your room and say, F you too. And I want you to turn to all the people in your life who've ever hurt you and say, F you. I forgive. Because it's through forgiveness that we can come into the light, absorb the light, and be the light. You tell me all the time in our benediction that you are God's eyes, God's hands, God's feet and wheels in this world. I can't check up on all of you, hard as I try, and as many of you as I have friended on Facebook, though I do follow closely. But God knows what we all do when we leave here. We are the light. Because God gave us that name. There's a great song by Bernadette Farrell. I thought about singing it to you, but I'm already in a light mood. We don't have to go there. And I hope that when we do some planning later, we put it somewhere into our Lenten services. But it's called Christ Be Our Light. Longing for light, we wait in darkness. Longing for truth, we turn to you. Make us your own, your holy people, light for the world to see. Longing for peace, our world is troubled. Longing for hope, many despair. But your word alone has power to save us. Make us your living voice. Longing for food, many are hungry. Longing for water, many still thirst. Make us your bread, broken for others, shared until all are fed. Longing for shelter, many are homeless. Longing for warmth, many are cold. Make us your building, Make us your building, sheltering others. Walls made of living stone. Many the gifts, many the people, many the hearts that yearn to belong. Let us be servants to one another, making your kingdom come. And the refrain, which is what I want us to sing a lot in Lent. Christ be our light, shine in our hearts, shine through the darkness. Christ be our light, shine in your church, gathered today, and set out every day of the week and month and year to be your light. Amen. God.